Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're jumping straight into a surprising and honestly kind of shocking hidden reality in the senior living industry. Right now, literally as you're watching this, operators across the country are quietly losing move-ins every single day. And the craziest part about all of this, most of them have absolutely no idea it's even happening. We're going to take a really close look at the exact language you're using to present your community and how a seemingly innocent choice on your website is actually driving families away way before you ever get the chance to speak with them. Okay, let's dive into this. I want you to picture your current marketing materials and, specifically, your website's pricing page. There's a particular phrase, just 2 words long, that you're very likely using right now. It's an incredibly common industry standard, right? It feels entirely safe to use. You might even think it's protecting your sales team from scaring families away with some high number. But I want you to take a guess. What are those 2 exact words that look safe, but are actually sabotaging your sales from behind a screen? Well, if you guessed starting at, you hit the nail right on the head. Those 2 little words, starting at, are arguably the most expensive phrase in senior living today. Look, I totally get exactly why operators use this phrase. Putting a low floor price out there without committing to a firm ceiling, it just feels safe. It feels like this great, gentle way to get a family interested without totally overwhelming them. But we really have to stop looking at this from the operator's perspective and start understanding what it's actually doing. The damage this phrase is causing is completely hidden from your view, but it's happening every single day. Section 1. Inside the buyer's mind. To really understand why this is happening, we need to flip the script completely and step away from the operator's side of the desk. When a family in a crisis encounters your pricing and you write starting at, you think you're being helpful, right? But here is what those 2 words actually communicate to them. We are not going to tell you what this really costs until we get you on the phone. That is the immediate, visceral translation in their minds. Stressed, exhausted families simply do not have the time or the patience for what feels like a bait-and-switch sales tactic. They need direct answers to a very urgent problem. Let's walk through the exact journey a family takes when they're researching care. First, they're sitting at their computer, exhaustedly working their way through a massive list of potential communities. Second, they're desperately trying to figure out if any of these places actually fit their specific financial and medical situation. Third, they land on your website and boom, they hit that vague starting at pricing. And finally, step 4, because they can't get a real actionable number out of you, they just close the tab and move on to the next community on their list. They leave forever, and you never even knew they were there. It's a completely silent exit. Moving right along to section 2, the true cost reality. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that attempting to hide your true prices from families in today's digital age is basically futile. Let's look at the numbers. $5,419. That is the current national median cost of assisted living per month in the United States. And here's the absolute vital point. Families already know this. They have unrestricted access to this data. They're Googling, they're reading directories, they're consuming news articles. They're walking into this entire process already knowing that care is expensive. So trying to soften the blow with a vague floor price, it isn't fooling anyone. It's just frustrating a highly educated buyer. And this leads us straight into human psychology. When a family lands on your website and sees a floor price that may or may not even reflect the reality of the care they actually need, and you provide absolutely no ceiling, their imagination just takes over. As the source material puts it, they fill in the unknown with their worst-case assumption. When confronted with uncertainty about money, especially during a massive healthcare crisis, people will naturally assume the absolute worst financial scenario. You aren't protecting them from sticker shock at all. You're actually inducing a panic that causes them to click away. Which brings us to section 3, the transparency solution. And this brilliantly illustrates the fix, because the incredibly good news here is that we do not have to operate this way. The operators who are absolutely winning the inquiry conversion game right now, they're embracing transparency. Instead of the old empty starting at X dollars tag that causes all that anxiety on the left, winning operators are using honest, contextualized pricing ranges like you see on the right. A statement like, monthly pricing typically ranges from $4,800 to $7,200, depending on care level and apartment size. That's specific, that's real. When you immediately pair that range with a section detailing exactly what is included, you transform a scary, isolated number into a very clear value comparison. You give the family the power to understand exactly what they're paying for. And finally, section 4, your 30-day challenge. I have a really direct and empowering challenge for any operator who still has the words starting at anywhere on their pricing page. It is time to make a change. Here are the exact 4 steps I want you to execute. Step 1, Commit to updating the language on your website this very week. Just remove starting at. Step 2, replace it by giving a real, honest pricing range. Step 3, add the vital context about exactly what's included in that range, so amenities, care levels, apartment sizes, the whole shebang. Step 4, sit back and watch what happens to your inquiry quality over the next 30 days. By simply offering transparency, you're going to stop driving away the families who need you, and you'll start having much higher quality conversations right from that very first phone call. I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. What is this silence of a lost lead actually costing you? Really think about it. How many families clicked away from your site today simply because you wouldn't give them a straight answer? It's something every single operator needs to be thinking about. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Be sure to keep an eye out for our next deep dive, where we're going to talk about the Saturday afternoon lead that your admissions team won't even see until Monday. Until then, if you want to fix your conversion process, definitely book a call with our team or watch the demo over at https:/silvercore.io. That's https:/silvercore.io. Have a fantastic day, and let's start being transparent with our pricing.